Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
And we are live from Iona University here at Newer Show, where we are back for our one and done radio show, our weekly event. Our weekly event. I've missed you guys, and I just want to thank you guys so much for giving me the show of the week. I did not expect to win this award, but we did, and proud of that because I started this journey 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago. That's the break. But it's just I did not expect to be here. I don't know if I would. I thought I was a one and done, like one episode and I'm done. But after the support I've gotten and the fun I've had doing it, I just enjoy it and I always come back. So I just want to let you know some important events here at Iona. Don't forget to register for the MSSC Career Connection Series on March 5th tomorrow in the Murphy 319 for a portfolio design workshop during the activity hour. Make sure to follow the Iona Media Department on Instagram at Iona MSC Department for more information. And save the date, the Women's Her Story Dinner March 7th in Burke Lounge at 5 p.m., hosted by the Council of Academic and Special Interest Club. Come to see the keynote speaker, New Rochelle Mayor Yadira Ramos Herbert. Free food and drink will be provided. Business casual attire recommended. Follow Iona's academic clubs on Instagram for more information. Now, I really recommend you go to the events. I will be there tomorrow at the Career Connection Series. It's fun. They give you some information about what you need, and it's just fun to know and be around people who all want to do the same thing as you. But as you can see by the title, the Mavericks season is over. Season is over. There's no coming back from it. Nico Harrison ruined the whole team, the whole season, and potentially the whole future. That cannot be passed upon. We need his head, on a stick. So if you guys didn't see the game last night against the Kings, the Mavericks played them. And in the first quarter, Kyrie tries to split the defense, goes up for a shot. Derrick Rose I kind of got that vibe, where he jumped in toward his ACL. Kyrie, he jumped. We thought it was a hyperextension, but it appeared to be far worse. It was a torn ACL. Sad because he put his heart and soul into the team. He was kind of our connector. I saw him as everyone saw him as a leader on the team, and even when Luka went down, he still showed out and became basically the guy without really asking to be, and now without questioning it, which is much respect to him. Prayers up for him. Hopefully, he gets well. He is old, so we don't know how he could recover, but he's a soldier, and we know he will come back from this stronger. But saying that doesn't negate the fact that the season's over. Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, now Jaden Hardy and Kyrie, they're all out for indefinitely. We don't know when they come back. We don't know if they will come back this season, which is sad because even the whole reason for our trade, us trading Luka, for the reasoning was to win now because they felt they needed to they need to hit on their window of the championship window. And they thought this roster, adding Anthony Davis to it, adding Max Christie to it, will give them a better chance to win the finals. And we never got to see that. Anthony Davis went down in 3 quarters. And the guy who was holding down the fort after Derek Lively's ankle fracture, my bad. Daniel Gafford hurt his knee. PJ Washington's been in and out the lineup. Basically our identity was just in and out the lineup or just completely out. And Kyrie was holding down the fort, and now he can't. The fort's collapsed. It's over. The guy who was leading the league in minutes since January 16th, leading the league in minutes. So for a month straight, he's been leading. He's over 38 minutes a game. Basically, our entire offense at this point, besides this 3-point shooting, he was the facilitator. He was the heliocentric. He was the earth in the heliocentric offense that Luka was supposed to be, but they just replaced him with Kyrie, which is sad because you put all that the strain and workload of Luka onto Kyrie, which he did not ask for, which is I don't I don't understand why you thought that would work. Well, you obviously thought Anthony Davis would play, but he is an injury prone player and you traded for him. And we seen what happened. Maybe it was a freak accident, but he's had many freak accidents, so see we shouldn't be surprised by it. No disrespect to him. He's obviously a great player, but I just don't think we should have put our faith in an injury prone player in Anthony Davis. And we do know that Kyrie pre Mavericks was also an injury prone player. He was out. He's had his fair share of injuries to deal with. Yes, this was a freak injury. We can't just like put the injury prone title on him with like through a freak injury. Anyone could have got this injury, but it happened, and we could blame the workload that was put on him of him having to carry the offense, the load for 40 minutes a game. But I think it's more of a fact that this season all went downhill after that Luka trade in terms of morality, integration, and their love for the team. Nico Harrison not feeling comfortable heading to Mavericks home games because we all know how it would end up. The fire Nico Harrison's on the jumbotron, the fan getting kicked out. It's just this man really ruined a season of the reigning Western Conference champions, and it's just sad because I just keep seeing these videos like of last year, the Western Conference Finals run, and like we really had it all, like, and we didn't know like a year later that we wouldn't have any of it, which is crazy because I remember vividly every game, watching every game, and how I reacted to all the clutch wins, all the Luca insane moments, the Kyrie insane moments, the Derek Lively and Gafford lobs, Derek Jones Jr. going crazy, PJ Washington going crazy. I just remember all of it, and now I have none of it. Wait, like four of the five players from the starters from the Western Conference Finals run either are hurt or not on the team anymore. And the one guy who is not is in and out the lineup in PJ Washington, who's like week to week at this point. The injury bug has destroyed the Mavericks season, and the trades have destroyed the Mavericks future. This is like, I don't know what to say. It's sad. I think the only way to recover is just to pray that the injuries don't affect everyone to what we think that it will, and that Anthony Davis can come back if he plays this season. If not, get ready for next season, and next year is the title run. But even that, I don't have hope because teams only get better. More experienced teams, the Lakers. We'll talk about the Lakers later. Um, but I just think that the season's done with. I think you should tank. Maybe either sit everyone of value of worth who has been injured and sign those, G League guys and just hope they can get some running, maybe some improvement. Put Omax in the starting lineup, get him to improve for next season. Najee Marshall, he's a great player. Maybe you start him. I just don't see how this is gonna work. You got Kai Jones who went crazy yesterday, but went crazy is not a. It's Kai Jones. Signed him yesterday. He played yesterday. I think it's just we have no big man. They're all hurt. We have no guards. They're either traded or hurt. You got Dante Exum, Spencer Dinwiddie led offense. It's not too good. Shout out to the players on the Mavericks for really like understanding that like this season was not supposed to go this way, and you just gotta roll with it. Season went bad. Your turn to just step up and just be professional. I don't if I was a Mavericks player, I would not be professional knowing that my GM kind of ruined what I came here for. If I'm Klay Thompson, I'm throwing riots and I'm requesting a trade. I came here for Kyrie and Luca to get the open looks, to get the shots, to compete for a championship, just for you to trade Luca. Now Kyrie's out for the season. He is a 35-year-old, 36-year-old veteran who could He's been shaky, but he could be of value on a championship team, getting open looks, and now he's just not there. He's the reason he's there is they aren't there. And Jason Kidd throwing him under the bus. All these like reports coming out saying Clay Thompson is just we needed to stop, and we just didn't feel like Clay can get us to stop, which is crazy because you have a deadly shooter and you're not going to play him in times of need against the Bucks. It's just it's crazy how a veteran like that can get thrown on the bus after leaving a situation where he felt like he was getting thrown on the bus. Is I had so much hope going into the season. If I if you were to ask me at the start of the season, I would have said the Mavericks would have been a 2 seed because yes, they start the season off bad, but now when they're fully into when they were fully healthy last year and they were playing and firing all cylinders, they could not be beat. Like the whole second half of the year, it was they made the push to 50 games after being like an almost 500 team throughout the whole first half of the year because of injury. And when they got all healthy, they made the 50-game push and then they got hot and they made the finals. If you asked me, I would have said that the big man duo of Derek Lively and Gafford off the bench, 20 minutes each game because you take one out, you put one in. That duo was deadly, and I would have told you that that alone could have won us 55 games minimum. I did not expect all these injuries to hit. Even when Luka was on the team, he was injured. Daniel Gafford injured, Derek Lively injured, PJ Washington injured, all these guys in and out. It's not what you wanted. And you had Kyrie relatively healthy, not to his not to like a Iron Man standard, but to a Kyrie Irving standard. He was relatively healthy. He's out for the season. And it's the worst season of a fan I think you could ever ask for. Because there's bad teams. There's Detroit Pistons last year. There's Washington Wizards last year. There's teams where like you obviously know you win that you compete for a championship, you make it and you lose. Like those are bad. But when you have those expectations and you can live up to those expectations, when they were fully healthy with Luka, they were 19-11. Just for it to get all stripped away and with really no hope for the future either. Because going into the season, they were title contenders. No doubt about it. They had just made it. They had made improvements, adding Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, Quentin Grimes. Oh, we can get into it later too. Made all these adjustments. They got a year under their belt. Luka's getting better. He's turning from 25 to 26. You had the whole world ahead of you. We had young pieces who could improve because they did only have like a second half of the year to really get clicking, and they did, and they made the finals. So now imagine with another year under their belt. I had expectations that they could make the finals again, possibly win it with better injury luck, I would say, because Luka being hurt definitely hindered our chances of winning. But we can't really explain anything. The Celtics were just too good last year. But also, we just had another year, and I thought we could win a championship, but the injury bug hit us. But I never really thought anything different because I knew when they're healthy, it could, they get hot, and you see what happens. And then the Luka trade happens, and then now my hope is gone. But it's not diminished. It's gone, but it's not diminished. No, I don't know that it's diminished, but it's not gone. Opposite. My bad. But because we got Anthony Davis. We didn't get a scrub. We didn't get picks, which is questionable, but we got a top 10 player in the league who's also very capable on the defensive end. And Max Christie, who I didn't know ball on, but now I do. He's good perimeter defender, good young guy. He will improve. He will be a part of the Mavericks' future. But I thought, okay, if we can get this big identity going and we play big and that's what we live and die on, I can roll with that because you live with defense and you have big guys who are hard to guard because it's hard to guard lobs. It's hard to guard big dominant presence. Derek Lively and AD, I was expecting to be the best. I'm pretty sure on my first episode I said they would easily be a top 5 defense, and I meant that. But now we never get to see it because we might not ever see them play. But besides that, I think it's sad thinking that I still had hope, and now it's completely gone with Kyrie being hurt and potentially AD being sat out for the rest of the season, which I respect that. I do think I would do the same thing. There's no you're playing for nothing really, and maybe get the young guys back, but at that point, you're just risking more injuries. It's just I could have never guessed in a million years at the start of the season how I would be feeling now because you could have told me Luca tore his ACL, Luca this, Luca that. You could have never told me Luca would have gotten traded, and I would have believed you. That is still a month later the craziest thing I can remember. I can still remember the feeling of seeing the initial report and realizing it was not fake. But with him gone, I think our future is shot. Because if you think about it, we had we had 2023, which was a bad year, where we started off hot, not hot, but like strong enough to make the playoffs. We were the 4 seed majority of the first half of the year. Luca was having his MVP type year, but not really winning it because he never gets the recognition since he was so good early. And we got traded for Kyrie, but trading for Kyrie, we also dealt with injuries and lack of size, and that just led to us plummeting down to the 11th seed. That was bad because the second half of the year, I kind of just checked out with the injuries and the no size and the being last and rebounding in the whole league for the whole second half of the year. At that point, I lost hope, but I never feared because I know who we have still on our team, and we just added Kyrie, who them two with a full offseason together and fully healthy, that could be dangerous. They ended up rebuilding after that bad year and making the finals after, which is why I think Nico Harrison doesn't realize the level of insanity he has for trading a guy like that, just because you don't want Maverick Planet Maverick to revolve around him. It's just I feel like it's just arrogant and ignorant too, because I generally don't think he knows what he's doing in terms of this. Having a guy who can turn a 11 seed into the next year as a finals team, he has that ability. He's shown us that ability. We've seen it. It's crazy because the year before 2023, they made the Western Conference Finals with a completely different team than what they made the finals with in 2024. That ability to be that type of guy that you can plug and play different types of play styles around him, but clearly just having his ability to raise the ceiling of the team, raise the floor. He can do both, but his floor raising ceiling is next level. And you draft a guy in Derek Lively, you make some trade deadline acquisitions, and you're in the finals. If this season went wrong, you could have just done the same thing. You did the same thing in the offseason. You, in my opinion, improved the team from 3 and D guys to you got some guys who can put the ball on the floor, which we needed in the finals, and we clearly saw how just having Luka and Kyrie being the only guys who can handle the ball, with Kyrie playing bad in the finals, we saw how that can go wrong. But now that you add guys who can put the ball on the floor, it helped us. But we never got to see it because you never let it ride, and you never let us see how dangerous they could be in the playoffs. The clutch factor of them is something I'm gonna miss. I'm gonna miss being able to just give the ball to Luka, give the ball to Kyrie. They'll make a play. They'll get a bucket. We won't see that anymore. I'm not saying Kyrie won't ever be the same player, but it's hard to think that him at 33 years old, 6'1", aging guard, is going to get back to the level that he was playing at now. Yes, the like technology is getting more advanced, and we see guys like Curry and like KD doing the same things. I just think it's hard to just have that expectation for all guards who are 6'1" and aging, because as we know, the league is getting bigger and longer and stronger. We just gotta. It's hard to just hold the standard of like LeBron and Curry's like longevity factor, but like hopefully he can get back to that level so he can still compete. But will he even be ready for next season? How long will it take for him to get ready after a torn ACL in March? is that that's a long process. That's not something you just snap back from. It's just gonna be a long, hard grind this offseason. Hopefully, he can get back to the way he was, but if he does, what moves will you make that can equate for what Luka Doncic was? Because now with AD, you're playing that risky game of will he be healthy for the offs? Will Kyrie be healthy for the offs? Will he be healthy in general for next season since coming off of ACL? We've seen these big men, they can't stay on the floor at this point because big men are harder or more injury prone since they have more weight on their body, as we've seen with Joel Embiid. You got more weight on your body, you're longer, you're not saying you're it's just harder to stay healthy with all the load that you're taking. Pause. But respectfully, I think this weird injury risk game is just hard to play when you have two guys who are supposed to be your stars be injury prone players. With Luca, you could say he was injury prone, but he was never. He was always there. He always played through the hardest injuries that he played for. I remember after seeing every game last second half of the season, every game you saw him, he had blood on his knees, which is it seems so abnormal. Like how every single game you had that leg sleeve on and there's blood bleeding through it. We clearly knew he was playing through something he shouldn't have been playing through, but he was because he's a soldier and that's the type of guy he is. So saying him being overweight when he clearly plays his way into shape, which we will get into later because the Lakers are definitely a big topic because they were the second half of this trade. I think it's just I'm scared for our future. I'm scared for my future as a fan. Not that fact that I don't want to watch a bad team again. Um, I had my guy in Luca, and now I don't want to just watch bad basketball or be checked out or be tuned out of the games, thinking like, okay, if we lose, it's fine. If we win, it's fine. I want to watch every game I can. Now I got league pass, I can watch every game and just think like, wow, we can definitely win this game. We should win this game. I want to win this game. We need the wins. We need to get up in the seeding. In the regular season, my mindset going into the games last year is how can we get back into this Luka MVP race and win more games? And then we eventually went on a crazy run where we were just winning games. And it gave me the same vibe as 22 when in the second half of the year, the Mavericks went crazy with their three-guard lineup after trading Porzingis. They just have this ability to the Mavericks, like Jason Kidd, Luka, they just have this ability to get hot at the right time. They've shown us on two separate seasons that they can do that. They can get hot and perform and just the way they play is it's hard to stop when you have a guy in Luka who can do things that other players can't and is a level of player that not every team has. It's rare to go into a playoff series against the Mavericks and have the best player. There haven't been I don't know if there's been one. Maybe he got outplayed in some, but I don't think there's a series where he is just not the best player going into it. His presence, his ability to play make, his ability to score was like you can't the way you guard him is at this point you just let him beat you because you can't let him get other guys involved because he can get whoever he wants to involved, which is how they played him last year. They played single coverage on him and they didn't want to blitz because they blitzed. Now it's a 3-on-4 and you're cooked because now it's a 3-on-4 with other guys who are hitting their shots and Kyrie is in this four. I think it's blitzing is not the way to beat him. And having that factor that we have a guy you can't blitz is immense because there's not many teams that have that. So having that gives you an extreme advantage in the playoffs, and we don't have that. We have Kyrie. Kyrie, yes, he's a great, not great, he's a good playmaker, but like you can blitz him because he's not going to make the right decision every time. And you have AD who's a dominant force, but he's also I like AD actually. He's a great post up big. You can get the ball, you can be the center, the hub of offense that he was for the Lakers. I just I think if we had him, he'd be good, but it's just the fact that when we don't know if we will have him. Not saying he's a bad player, he's a great player. I was waiting to see how he played. The first 3 quarters had me hype. I was like, this defense is gonna be legendary, and we're gonna we can still make moves. We can still do some damage. Now I just gotta. It's sad because now next season everyone's getting older. The young players are getting better, but the older players are getting older. So how will that work? That's just my biggest fear in terms of next year and my future as a fan, or the future as a future as a Mavericks fan. Respectfully, Nico Harrison, like sell not Patrick Dumont sell the team. Nico Harrison, you deserve to be fired tonight. I should open my phone right now and see he got fired. If I don't, I'll be very disappointed. Yeah. Okay. Which is great. I didn't see anything. I just seen a tweet saying that the Mavericks spent 4 years. Let me read it for you. The Mavericks Dallas traded 4 straight years of draft capital to build a team around Luca, which is fact. They built a team around him. It showed out, and they still traded him. And now the team's built around nobody because they're all hurt. I just think it's time for Nico Harrison to, how do you say it nicely? Nico Harrison needs to never leave his house again. He needs to stay there in the basement in a dungeon, locked under the gate, locked under the jail. Wherever's the worst place you can put him there. And they raised the season ticket price for 8%. That's ridiculous. I mean, that's really just them like trying to make as much money as possible. They're money oriented. They're not team and winning oriented, which is sad. Sad to see that a franchise that had such standards for how they treat their players, 20 straight years of loyalty, respect, great front office, great manager, great owner, is gone now because he sold the team. Little did I know when he sold the team, when he sold the team, I was like, wow, I didn't expect him to sell a team, but like he explained himself. He said he doesn't want his kids to be forced to like be the Mavericks owner, so he just decided to sell it to. He's still a pretty sure majority owner, and he still has his season tickets. But I didn't expect that news to ruin the Mavericks for the rest of the future. For the foreseeable future, it is ruined, in my opinion. And I didn't expect it to age this poorly this fast. Because if we all remember, the narrative behind the trade is the Mavericks got better now, the Lakers got better for the future, which is where we will start talking about the Lakers now that they have hit the 2 seed in the West. And they are not only better than the Mavericks now, they have a better chance of winning a championship now. They have a better future with Luca, built around Luca and Austin Reeves. It's this. It should not have aged this poorly in just a month, but it has. The Lakers have found out. They're still figuring it out, but they have found their way to win games, and it is scary. They should not be this good. They have figured out small ball, the switching, the Luka LeBron chemistry is elite. It's scary how fast they are. But it's just two high IQ, good ass players, and LeBron and Luka with Austin Reeves as the third ball handler. It was never the doubt of their scoring ability, it was their doubt of their defensive ability and their big man presence. But we clearly see that doesn't matter. They play small ball. Jackson Hayes is barely on the floor. Trey Jemison is barely on the floor. It's majority just small ball. And when their big men are in, they are just there to just be a presence. They switch everything. Vanderbilt, Dorian Finney-Smith, Gabe Vincent's hitting threes. Their defense and their switchability and their scheme. JJ Redick, is really unlucky that Kenny Atkinson and JB Biggerstaff are like doing what they're doing because he'd be like a lock for coach of the year in any other year. The fact that he's just his scheme and his ability to adapt and the way he guards the other team's best player and shuts them down, the way he stopped Jokic against the Nuggets was absurd. I think going into this season, for the Lakers, we thought, wow, they're done for because they made no offseason moves. The only thing they did was draft Bronny and fire Ham and hire JJ Redick. but I don't think we understood how big of a gap JJ Redick is from Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham right now looks like a preschooler compared to JJ Redick. His I don't understand how they had him for 2 years. Yes, if they didn't make the Western Conference Finals, I'm surprised, like, he would be gone. And I can't blame that Western Conference. I can't give him the credit for that. I can only give it to the roster that was assembled. And when you really think about it, would the Lakers have beat the Nuggets in 2023 if they had JJ Redick instead of Darvin Ham with that roster that they had? We don't know. Every game they played in that sweep was a close game. Now that you have a better scheme against the Nuggets, does that change anything? You have a better coach, does that change anything? I guess we'll never know because it happened and they won the championship. And then the next year they do the same thing. They play 5 close games and they lose 4 of them, 2 to game winners. And it's like with blown second half leads. Last year, if they have JJ Redick, do they beat the Nuggets? Do they move on to play the Timberwolves? We'll never know because the past is already the past. But now you go into playoff series having JJ Redick as your coach. We can see, or we will see, how much of a difference it is from Darvin Ham. LeBron loves JJ. He's the reason he signed. Can't say the reason, but he's a big majority. But it's absurd how you can just go from poor coaching to that great coaching, and you get Luka for the future. You have a great coach and Luka for the longevity of your franchise with Austin Reeves there. The Lakers, if they didn't already win the trade, which I said they did, they got an A plus. They got an A S plus plus plus. They got their future there now, and whatever else they need. They have the assets. They have the fact that they're the Lakers and they're in LA and they got the market to do all the stuff that they can do. They can go and win a championship now. Like, yes, it's highly unlikely. You got the big 3 of the championship contenders in the Cavs, Celtics, and the Thunder. But the Lakers are right up there. Why aren't they? They got 2 elite playmakers and scorers and shot makers. You got Austin Reeves, who's up there. LeBron James is back. LeBron James playing like he's 2013 defense. Absurd the fact that he's 40 and he's still on any given night the best player on the floor, and it's not even close. Respect to respect to the Lakers. Yes, the Lakers, they get whatever they want because they have that big market. They've had it for since the 80s. They just had the even since the 70s. They got Kareem in the 70s. They just get whatever, and it's like clockwork. They just get the star player, they win championships, and they move on. It's honestly respect to JJ Redick for showing and proving the haters wrong in this first year. Sorry. I think that the Lakers can make some moves, knowing the fact that you have LeBron and Luka and the defense that you have, which is surprising. And my question for them is, will this transpire and move into the playoffs as defense? I was watching their second game against the Clippers, and to end the half, it was like 6 minutes of no scoring for the Clippers or something like that. Unless I don't know the exacts, but it was something relative to that, which is absurd because Luka was on the court, who is a defensive liability in people's eyes. And the fact that they had this defensive liability and they still couldn't score. And the Clippers are a playoff team. They're the 6th seed right now. Unless they dropped, I can't be. No, they're the 7th seed. They're tied for no, not tied. They're one behind the Warriors. But this whole year they got Kawhi back. Kawhi was balling that game, but everyone else just couldn't get a shot off. And it was just the shots they were getting off were not quality shots. Will this hounding and switching and scheme of JJ Redick translate to the playoffs? If not, can he adapt on how to play these teams? We've already seen the scheme he has for Jokic and the Nuggets, who are looking shaky this year when playing like good teams. So we'll see. We'll see how the West looks good, but there are definitely each team has their question marks. And now the fact that you lost a title contender team in Dallas, who will not be in the playoffs and will not be there, who is a big threat if they were to play. You lose one more threat that you have to play. and it's just looking like a scary year for the Lakers because say they do make it to the finals and say they do manage to beat whoever comes out the East. Is this not like the biggest robbery in not even NBA history, not even sports history, in world history? You traded for a 26-year-old superstar and you win a title in the first year that you trade for him when the whole idea was that you weren't going to be good enough to win a championship and the other team was going to be better than you because they got the win now players and you traded the the not win now player, but he's clearly a top 10 player in the league at this point. But we can really be honest, he's a top 5 player in the league when healthy. And we see him playing. We gradually see him get better every game as he's playing his way into shape and he is recovering from an injury. We see the Luka that we've always known, the find anyone on the court Luka, the score at will Luka, the find a mismatch and hunt the big man and find the mismatch on the court through pick and rolls and high pick and rolls and just abusing the matchups. That's something that not every player can have. Not every team has a guy who can hunt the mismatch like Luka does. Or even LeBron, you have both of them. You have pick your poison. Like I saw that should be the nickname. Pick your poison. That's a fire nickname because you really have to scheme around both of these guys who are unschemable. LeBron has been unschemable for the last 20 years. And now you give him the next LeBron in terms of unschemability in Luka. It's the fact that he was a known playoff riser, and all of a sudden, one series against the Celtics, where he shot inefficiently, it was a liability on defense. Is all of a sudden now he's just can't perform in the playoffs on an injury too. Man, I guess we're just rewriting history. Nico Harrison, back at I don't even want to talk about him, but the Lakers are 38-21. They have in the last 8 games are 6-2. Those 2 losses coming to under 500 teams, and those 2 wins, the 6 wins coming from all above 500 teams. They're playing comp. Their next couple of games are against comp teams. They're above 500. They're most likely playoff teams. You can't say they can't be battle tested in the regular season, but you can see how they stack up against the top teams in the East and West in the league. It's scary. Like, if I'm the Thunder, I wouldn't be worried because we clearly have a mismatch advantage or advantage in terms of size, but they also have, at any given point, the 2 best players on the court, respectfully. Shay's a baller, but LeBron, the way he plays on certain nights is ridiculous, and Luka, we all know he can really turn it on and end you in a half in terms of his scoring and playmaking ability and finding guys. It's sad, because this guy was my player. He was on my team. So, I don't wanna say it. I don't wanna do it. If this season's over for the Mavericks and the playoffs start, I will be rooting for my guy, Luka. I can't even lie. I will be rooting for the Lakers to win. Not in terms of, like, because I wanna see the Lakers win, like, they always win. Every decade, they have a championship, and they already have it this decade, so they just gotta worry about 2030. But I just wanna see my guy win, you know? This is my guy for the last 7 years. Why would I not wanna see him succeed, get over the hump, prove the haters wrong, and start his legacy of being a top player of all time? But, that's if the Mavericks don't make the playoffs, which I'm assuming they won't. They're still in contention. They're 32-30. They're still above 500. But I just wonder how long that's gonna last. The Lakers, second seed, that can hinder any given day. They could lose 2 in a row. They're down to the 4 seed. They can win. They can't move up to the first seed. They're ceiling 2 seed, like floor if they go on a losing streak, like 5 seed, 6 seed. All right. So I just think if they continue the way they're playing, they can easily cruise to 50 wins. They can cruise to a top playoff seed. They can play a playing team, which in recent past years that'd be a problem, but this year you just got so many good teams that they could really play anyone they want to, or playing anyone they want to isn't like I missaid my words. Playing anyone they want to isn't just some walk in the park like it used to be. Like in the plan right now, you got the Clippers, the Kings, the Timberwolves, the Mavs, the Suns, who are like right outside. And depending on how far the Mavericks fall, they can just completely fall out. And depending on how these teams who have made this deadline decisions that have been injured, like the Timberwolves and the Kings and the Clippers, how they move up. The Warriors, like I said on the trade deadline edition, if you guys didn't watch, go watch that. I think they're, I think they won that trade. It was a great move. Jimmy Butler clearly frees up Steph Curry so much to the point where he can really just not be focused on every night. And we see what he's done. He's been balling against the Sixers. He was balling. What they play yesterday, the Hornets. He was balling. They blew him out, but it was just like Steph Curry showed who Steph Curry was. Against the Magic, he had 56 with 12 threes. I was in Chocolate House on Tuckahoe with my guys, and we were watching the game, and we seen Curry literally take over in at the end of the second half. They were down. He had like three straight threes, one of them being a half court shot at the buzzer in the second half, and it was just like Curry is still Curry. Curry will always be Curry as long as he is not hurt, and it's scary because they're the 6th seed already after being the 10th seed, literally like before the deadline started. And it's just how fast a team can progress and be contenders. But the Rockets, they're 37-24. They look to be locked for the playoffs. The Grizzlies 30-23 after losing 3 straight buzzer beaters. It's crazy. They were the 2 seed at one point. The Nuggets, who have crawled up to the 3 seed and fallen from the 2 seed, but I remember when they were more of a lesser seed and they just went on that streak of winning. They finally figured it out against the weaker teams. Even Jokic said against the weaker teams is how we like make our way of living. So the Nuggets, they do not look like the Nuggets of the lot of 2 years ago, or even last year during the regular season and start of the playoffs. They just don't look as dominant as they used to. Jokic, yes, he's still averaging a 29-point triple double. It's insane. Saying that I don't even think he should be MVP, but like regards the point, him doing all this and still they don't look good in terms of the fact that it's not even on Jokic at this point. It's on to everyone else. It's on the Christian Browns, who's had an up year, who's in MIP talks. Him shooting and defending at a level that he needs to. Jamal Murray can't stink it up because when he's not playing at a level, they don't look good. MPJ has to hit his shots. Aaron Gordon has to defend and hit his shots because he is being left open because they'd rather him be left open from the corner than being the dunker. And Russell Westbrook, who we all know how he plays in the playoffs, they leave him open. They dare him to shoot. If you can beat us, okay, we can we just know that it's a less likely chance than you do. The Nuggets, I think that they are easily beatable in terms of if you have the personnel to. Not every team has a personnel to, which is why I don't think it's just like they'll be a first round exit. But when it comes to the upper teams in the league, I just don't see how they can beat them respectfully because Jokic is still going into any series the best player in the series. But if you have the personnel to stop him, it's gonna be hard to win if you're the Nuggets. And the Thunder are nice. They have a great defense. They pressure. They got their shot makers. The only thing you can or worry about is the fact that when it comes to playoff time, besides Shea, who is going to be able to score? We saw last postseason, they didn't have anyone else. It was almost like a one-man offense. And it could have gotten them farther, but they really only made it out the second round after playing the Pelicans in the first round without Zion. It's more of a they don't have to prove themselves because they do gotta prove themselves. They are the 1 seed and they have 50 wins already. They gotta prove that they can win. It's championship or bust for them. So championship or bust in the fact that if they lose, they obviously still have next year because they're young. But if they lose, it's a failure of a season, in my opinion. You already proved you can be the one seed in the West. You already proved that Shea's an MVP type candidate. He was second last year. Lucas should have been first, but nothing crazy. But like we've seen this. We know this. We know the team you could be. You add Isaiah Hartenstein. They started off injured, but they've been playing and they have looked deadly in terms of the double big lineups look amazing. I just think it's just the fact that you gotta either make the championship or win. There's no other way around it. You have 50 wins. You're 50-11. No team that's 50-11 has ever said, "Oh, not coming off a year of already being the one seed, has come off and be like, okay, if we lose in the second round, we're fine. We'll come back next year." That doesn't happen. You don't win 50. They already have 50 games. The Mavericks last year won 50 games. They're already next time they play, they'll already have a better season than the Mavericks last year in terms of record wise. And they still have 20 games left to play. At this point, it's beyond the regular season. You got to prove it in the offs. Same thing with the Cavs. The Cavs last year were not that good. They made it. They made it to the second round. They were good for a portion, but they fizzled out towards the end. They barely skinned past the Magic, and they lost to the Celtics. While hurt, yes, but I think it's a fact that you have 50 wins. You're 50-10. It's been 60 games this season. You've only lost 10 times. It's beyond the regular season at this point. You have to win the championship. If they don't, if they make it, if they lose in the Eastern Conference Finals, they lose in the second round, you lose. Honestly, it's not a successful season. In terms of Cavs, it's more or less than the fact that I think the Thunder are more of a winner of championship bust than the Cavs. But it's the same level, to my opinion. Like, you don't win 50 games before you lose 15 games and not expect to win a championship. That's ludicrous. You'd literally just be lying to yourself. If we can go through every team in NBA history who's won 50 games before they've lost 15. There's not many because it's not that common. They'd probably fail the season if they didn't win the finals. But besides that, I think it's going to be a great playoffs. Teams are going to be exposed. Teams are going to expose other teams. I think the biggest factor this year, which is underrated because people more look at players and like personnel, I think coaching is going